This is 7-2 homework, multiplying. These are monomials and binomials. We're learning how to multiply them together. So, quick review. You want to get used to seeing and learning the difference between this, x plus x, and this, x times x. When you're doing adding, the exponent rules that we've learned do not apply. You're actually just adding the coefficient together. There's an invisible 1 in front of each. So it's like saying I have 1x, add another x, and I have 2 x's. Okay? But when I do x times x, that's when our exponent rules come into play. This is x to the first power times another x to the first power. I get x to the second power. So notice the first one, when you're adding, it also applies to subtracting. You're changing the coefficient. You're not dealing with the exponent. And when you're multiplying, you're changing the exponent. Now, if I had coefficients here, like if I had, I don't know, 3x times 4x, what I would do, I would add the exponent, the exponents on here, but I'd multiply my coefficient. So I get 12x squared. Okay, so keep that in mind as we do these. So, number one, we'll be doing the odds together as usual. We have 3w multiplied into w plus 2. So we show distribution here. 3w times w gives me 3w squared. 3w times 2 gives me 6w. We want to write it in standard form, and it is in standard form. We have the higher exponent at the front. There we go. Number 3. We have 3m being distributed into here and here. 3m times 4 is 12m. 3m times another m is 3m to the power of 2. You see how basically this 3 is multiplying by an invisible 1 here. 3 times 1 is 3. And then my exponent rules. M times m, that's m to the 1, m to the 1 gives me m to the 2. Okay, this is not standard form, so you might want to rewrite it as 3m squared in front plus 12m in the back. Okay, number 5. We have negative 5 distributing here and here. We got to pay attention to our integer rules when you're multiplying negatives and positives or negatives and negatives. Here, negative y times positive 5, it's going to be a negative answer, negative 5y. But now, on the second part, negative y times negative 2y, that makes it a positive 2, and then y times y is y to the power of 2. Okay, you might rearrange it to put it in standard form. That gives you 2y squared in the front minus 5y. That's how that works. Okay, let's take a look at number 7. We have 6x being distributed here and here. 6x, and this is like a negative 1x. So 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. X times x is x squared. That's the first part. Now 6x times 10, well 6 times 10 is 60. X. There you go. It's already in standard form, so nothing else to do. Number 9. We have 4n being distributed here and here. So 4 times 5 is 20. N times n is n squared. Now 4 times 6 is 24, and you do put an n on there because n multiplies into it. So you have 20n squared plus 24n. It's already in standard form because the higher exponent's in the front. Let's take a look at number, what do we have next? Okay, we skipped several questions. Now we're on 29. Okay, Now the front section, top section didn't say to put in standard form, but we just did to be in good practice. Now they're specifically telling us to write in standard form. So here I'm distributing this negative 3m once, twice, 3 times. Negative 3 times a positive 2 gives me negative 6. And then m to the first power times m to the second power. I add 1 and 2, I get m to the third power. Okay, now we do the next distribution. Negative 3m times negative 5m. Negative 3 and negative 5 multiply to give me positive 15. And then m times m gives me m squared. Lastly, we have negative 3m times positive 10. The negative 3 times positive 10 is negative 30. And that m is also being multiplied in, so we do have an m on the end of that negative 30. So we take a look at it. We have m to the third, m to the second, and m to the first. It's already in standard form. There's no like terms, so we don't have to simplify, so we're done. All right, let's take a look at whatever's next. 31. 10x multiplies into here, here, and here. So look at the first part. The 10 times the negative 4 gives me negative 40. And then x to the first power times x to the second power, we add those exponents and get x to the third power. That's my first distribution. Secondly, 10x times 1x. 10 times 1 is 10. X to the 1 times x to the 1 gives me x to the 2. And then lastly, 10x times negative 3. 10 times negative 3 is negative 30. There's an x on the 10 multiplying into that, so it's negative 30x. Take a look at my order. We have x to the third, x to the second, x to the first. We don't have any like terms, so there's no simplifying. It's already in standard form. Okay, what do we have now? We have last problem, number 33. Okay, we have a couple of different distributions going on here. We have 5y distributes here and here, but then we have negative y distributing here and here. Okay, I really recommend, if this is overwhelming to you, ignore one part and just do one part at a time. I'm going to ignore the back half and just look at the front half. So 5y times y gives me 5y squared. That's the first distribution. Now 5y times 2 gives me 10y. Okay, so that's the first part. Now I'm going to ignore what I just did. I'm not going to pay any attention to it because I'm going to do the next distribution. Negative y times y gives me negative y squared. Now negative y times that minus 3, or negative 3, becomes a positive 3y. Okay? Whenever you're distributing something like that, it's important to remember the sign in front. That is a negative y going into both of these. That's going to make a big difference in your answer. Okay, I did the second distribution. I'm going to take my thumb away and look at the grand finale. I've got a couple of different things here. I'll try to color code it. You'll just get in the habit. You can do shapes, you can do whatever while you're getting used to this. I have a 5y squared here. This is not a y squared, but this is a y squared. Negative 1y squared. Those two guys will combine. And then here I have, let's see, I have a positive 10y and I have a positive 3y. So those guys are going to combine. So 5y squared minus 1y squared, I can write the 1 in if I want to. 5 minus 1 is 4, so I get 4y squared. That takes care of him and him. 10y's plus 3y's gives me 13y's. That's my simplified answer in standard form. Let us know in class or come in for tutoring if you have other questions.